Welcome to episode 87 of the Loane Hockey Podcast, where today we're going to be talking about some standouts from yesterday's matchup between the Utah Hockey Club and the Anaheim Ducks. And Anaheim came away with a 5-2 win, but Anaheim, they've actually stood out a little bit throughout the preseason. They haven't been tremendous. They've won two and lost two. So there's been positives in terms of their young players and how they've been playing, and that's the biggest advantage that they have is their youth and how they can utilize it. And obviously Cutter Gauthier coming into the mix. They have Leo Carlson, and they had some other players playing as well. Like Nathan Gaucher was playing yesterday. They had Sam Colangelo playing. And so they had a lot more of their younger players playing. And in terms of Anaheim's future, they have a very bright future with the prospects that they have and the young players that they have in general already on their team. And you look at Leo Carlson and Mason McTavish and then Trevor Zegras and some other guys in that forward crop mix. And it's a really good group. It's a really good looking group. And then Cutter Gauthier is going to be really interesting to see how he gels inside a top six type role and becoming a potential player who could contend for the Calder Trophy. So, in terms of standouts on Anaheim side, one of the biggest ones by far was Leo Carlson, and he looks like he could be a really dominant threat this year. His season last year, his rookie season, got cut short by injury issues, and that happened actually with all the top three picks. Ironically, in the 2023 draft, Bedard had issues with injuries. Fantilli and Leo Carlson did as well. So with Leo, in terms of his game, if he gets a full 82 game season, and I wouldn't be surprised if he could hit over 60 points because he's a player when he played his best, he was playing consistent first line ice time or second line ice time as a center. He's a natural center. He has a natural ability to handle pucks in small areas. And this is why I was so intrigued by him in his draft year coming out of the SHL. And part of the reason why I believed at the time he could have easily been a second overall pick because the translatability within his game coming out of the SHL was so unique and so rare. And so with Carlson, he brings a frame that he can handle pucks in small areas, but he can also use body position, puck protection, leverage those two combinations, and also has the size on top of that. So he has the coordination of a smaller player, which is really rare for a player his size. And you saw it yesterday, a really nice sequence where there's a reload inside the neutral zone. He got a stretch pass from Jackson Lacombe. He sees the stretch pass coming off the blue line. So D1 and D2 from Utah weren't able to pinch on the play because they had a passive neutral zone forecheck going. They had their F1 and F2 because it was a 4-on-4 sequence. Their F1 and F2 were in the neutral zone in middle ice, but they're already getting exploited. So their D1 and D2 had to hold the line and they couldn't step up. So Carlson came back off the line, received the stretch pass, and then he was able to create an overlap with Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler came under and then veered from the outside to the inside on the entry. So he veered slightly middle and then he slowed down because he realized he didn't have an option, created another reload sequence where Cutter Gauthier swung under, but Cam Fowler found Leo Carlson coming up the other side of the ice with speed without the puck. Carlson gets the puck off the pass from Fowler, and then he's able to manipulate around Logan Cooley, and then he's able to manipulate the goaltender into thinking that he was going to shoot. He doesn't shoot. He passes off the Cutter Gauthier, and it's an easy tapping goal because Gauthier had a ton of space to work with. So that's just an example of Carlson and how he's able to utilize manipulation, translatable deception in his game. Another standout was Robbie Fabry. And Robbie Fabry, he's good when he scores. That's the thing about him. He needs to score and needs to showcase scoring ability consistently. Is he the type of player that can bring that? I don't know in Anaheim. But at the same time, he still brings some of that scoring ability. So if you put him in a middle six or a bottom six role, even as a checker, he can still find ways to score. So he has dual threat ability in that sense. He had a goal yesterday and a couple shots, and he stood out. Nathan Gaucher, another big power center. It's a theme with Anaheim where they have a lot of these bigger power forward like centers, or not just centers, but also wingers and forwards in general. And it's a style that Pat Verbeek liked to play when he was playing himself. So it makes sense why he brings that philosophy over to Anaheim now. And Gaucher was really good, really strong in the puck. He's really strong in his core and his upper body specifically to be able to hold off guys. Really underratedly strong in that sense. He had an assist, and he really stood out, and he's naturally stood out as a playmaker. He's a pass first player and a pass first center. Typically, centers are that, And with Gaucher, he shows strong ability to be able to find seams that others can't. And it'll be interesting to see how he does playing another year pro. Cutter Gauthier was really good. His scoring ability, his knack for finding the net, his knack for being around the net, it's shown ever since he was with the NTDP and even before that when he was playing youth AAA. So he's always been a scorer. He's always been known as a scorer. He can score goals, but also make plays really effectively. You see the dual threat play at a near elite level. It's going to be really interesting to see what he's able to accomplish this season, how much he's able to accomplish, and how consistent he can be. Because that's the biggest question is how can he translate that? And I'm not going to be surprised if he has a really good season because not only coming off the season he had with Boston College last year, but at the same time, the ability that he's shown in preseason thus far, it's shown a lot in terms of his game and what he can bring. So he was really good player. And then two defensemen, two younger defensemen I wanted to get to were Jackson Lacombe, and Jackson Lacomb's been in their system for a little while now. And then Tristan Luno, similar concept, both puck moving D. Lacombe's more of a two-way D. Luno's more of an offensive-minded defenseman. He likes to join the rush and attack with pace. But Lacombe plays steady. He likes to play steady line rush defense, steady transition defense. He likes to play steady defensively with his stick and his footwork so that way he can shut plays down. Luno, I noticed him activating a lot. He can be active on breakouts. He can be active as the puck carrier, but he can also be active being able to carry pucks through the middle of the ice in the neutral zone and sometimes in the O zone, but not as consistently yet at the pro level. But he was really good and he really stood out. And then for Utah's side, Josh Stone again. I've talked about him before, but Josh Stone has been a really good standout throughout the preseason thus far. And there's certainly reason to believe why he could stick with Utah, not just because of the rookie season and the season he had last year in pro and the end of the season, how he played with Arizona at the time, how well he played then down the final stretch of the season. But you look at his game and the style of play that he brings, he can certainly fit either checking role or scoring role inside the top six. He could fit both. That's the thing with him is he can fit both, and he brings a checking game that is really unique and really based upon speed, which fits Utah's style really well. And then as for others, I thought Dylan Gunther was really shooting the puck a lot, and he was very active on the shot and using his shot. And that's his biggest asset, his biggest weapon is his shot and his ability to shoot off the catch. And he stands out in that sense because he can shoot with power, he can shoot with accuracy, and he can shoot with natural velocity that many players can't. So he was really good, really big shot threat, like I mentioned, and a player that you do not want to have the puck. If you're a defenseman, because he can change the angle really quick too. That's another thing. He has dynamic skill in his hands. He can move the puck around, not just in terms of a passing element, but also in terms of being able to actually maneuver with the puck individually. He does it so quick and he's so fast with his hands. So that way he's able to change the angle on his shots if he wanted to directly. So he really stands out in that sense. He was really good overall. And then Logan Cooley and Kyler Yamamoto were two guys I want to get to. And Kyler Yamamoto been on a tryout. He had a goal in this game. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to make the team or not. And if he does make the team, certainly he would fit a bottom six checking role really well. And he's a player who can bring that speed, that energy, that tenacity as a checker. And he brings some scoring ability ever since he's come out of junior into Edmonton and then to Seattle and then now here. He's shown good scoring ability, but not necessarily consistently, not as like a top six forward, but he can produce as a top nine guy or middle six guy or a bottom nine guy and be able to fill a little bit of a scoring void inside the bottom six. So he would help in that sense. He's not going to help tremendously per se, but he's going to be a guy that can still produce. And then Logan Cooley, what I really like about Cooley's game is his playmaking and his speed, and those two are really foundational elements to his game. And in terms of his playmaking, he's really good at finding seams in the ozone and in neutral zone sequences. And I've noticed the speed of his mind has really started to catch up even more to the pace of the NHL. So he's really adapted his hockey sense really well and much faster to the NHL. He had a really good rookie season last year. It's going to be interesting to see how he trends off that. But by the looks of his processing speed and how he's actually processing situations, you can tell he's actually adapted to the pro game really well. And it's more a matter of how he's able to utilize and translate that hockey sense into other situations where he can not only make plays but also score goals more. Because that's a big asset of his that he can really weaponize. If he can add more elements to his shot, add more deception to his shot, and add more lift to his shots. Sometimes his shots they can sneak mid in the midway part of the goalie, but they're not necessarily super high. But he can. The unique thing with him is that he can use his puck skills and his shot from large and many different angles. So he can shoot from almost the goal line area. So you have a shot threat in terms of that sense, who can shoot from anywhere inside the offensive zone. And a rarity in that sense because not many players are willing to do that at the same time. Not many players are willing to find that space. Not many players are willing to actually take the shot. But Cooley's able to do that. And it'll be interesting to see how Cooley, again, how he's able to adapt his following season, the league, and this season could be and very well be a big season for him as well.